crazy Brett Gowan on the radio. Come see us. There isn't a store like us anywhere in America.
Welcome to D-Lab, everybody. Today we're shifting gears a little bit. I'm still working on some backlog repairs. So I'm going to be taking a look at this Setchell Carlson console radio. The radio is a local repair from somebody right here in town. It actually belonged to their grandfather. Has not been on in decades. Power cord is dry rotted. Tuning dial does not turn. Obviously, I'm not going to attempt a power up until we get this chassis out and take a look at what's going on. Okay, I've popped out the knobs. There's only two of these screws that hold the chassis in. So you're seeing it as I see it. Hopefully the mice have not been in here munching away. It doesn't look like it. But I sure see some crusty looking caps. Let's get on the bench and take a closer look. There, I've got the chassis out. You can see the power cord. It's pretty crusty. Here is where the speaker plugs in. Here's the rectifier tube and the output tube. I understand this is a Model 588. And the service data is available online, which is a good thing. Alright, let's take a look underneath. Well, here we are, bottom side. It appears as though there's been some past maintenance. You can see this cap has been replaced. Got some real crazy looking filter cap here going to the rectifier tube. At least I believe that's what that is. And it's full of the old paper caps. Now, I said the dial cord was broke. It's actually just off of the pulley. But more than likely, it needs to be replaced. And this flywheel is really stiff. She's been sitting a long time. The good thing is no mice have been in here munching away at it. So the game plan, I'm going to review the schematic online, get these capacitors changed, clean her up, put a new power cord on, and attempt a power up. Okay, I've wired up a temporary power cord, pulled out the rectifier tube. I'm going to verify that power transformer is good before I go any further on this radio. The volume control won't even turn, so I had to bypass the switch. We're going to bring it up on a variac and see if we have high voltage and the filament voltage. Here we go. We're going to check the transformer. I've got the negative of my meter to chassis. We're on AC volts. Here are the high voltage windings. I'll bring her up with a variac. I'm not going to apply full voltage. So that appears to be alive, and then this one here appears to be the filament. And we've got filament voltage. So I believe we are safe to continue. Located the vintage hand-drawn schematic online for the Model 588. Shows the filter caps and the cathode cap of the output tube. Those will be the first ones I change. So this is the filter cap, a 2-section 10 microfarad. This guy was supposed to be a 10 microfarad 25 volt cap. I don't know what this big oil tank is, but that guy is coming out. I removed that big old cap, and underneath I spotted this black resistor. According to the schematic, that should be a 600 ohm resistor at 2 watt. You can see a heat mark. She's been pretty hot. Measures 736. So I'm going to change that resistor and also install the new cathode cap. Recapping is complete. Sure looks a lot nicer than when it had those old waxers in it. Time to give it an initial test. Got all the caps replaced. The radio's hooked back up to the speaker. I'm bringing her up on a variac. Let's see if we get anything out of it. I'm not showing any excess current. We're up to about 100 volts right now. It's 110. Filament's coming up. I've got a wire here going to a spool of hookup wire next to my window for an antenna. Let's see if we get anything out of her.
Road down that left field line.
Oh yeah.
I can get myself on that old.
So it appears to be receiving.
Series teaching on the decades of life in the 30s is kind of what you guys
Excellent.
are into it.
It's a good sign. I need to check. All right, next I need to check the tubes. Give it a cleanup, and that front pot is still almost seized up, so there's still work to be done, but it's looking very promising. All right, before I change the volume pot, I want to get in here, replace the dial cord, and get this tuning mechanism to work. The tone switch appears to be okay, so now I need to pull that front dial off and gain access to the pulley and get her strung up. So I had to disconnect that tone switch, which is fine because I have a capacitor that needs to be changed. And there it is. So it appears as though this has been changed before. It didn't quite hold up. So I'll clean and lube everything and get the dial cord on and test it. New dial cords installed. Pretty simple installation on this one. You just come off the spring, 2.5 turns, back up and back to the spring. It's working fine. Well, guess what? I got lucky. I decided to take some lacquer thinner and soak that shaft, and then I put penetrating oil on it. She's working like a dream. No need to replace that pot. Added a chassis mount fuse and a grounded power cord. Cleaned up the power to the back of the switch. It's ready to test. I'm checking the tubes on my Amplitrex AT1000. So far so good. Chassis back in, ready to test. I ended up making this little clip-on antenna system so the chassis could be removed easier. This is actually an antenna out of an old Admiral radio. And then for the input, I made a coil of 22 gauge wire. So let's see how she receives. Here we go. This is my volume. This is tone in the main tuning.
You could even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their life.
We don't have too many stations around
For
here.
us to be able to come out on top with that, Will getting a 1+, you know, obviously Holt came in and we used some pitches there. Casey did a really good job. Hannafy did a nice job. It sets us up to still have some weapons tonight for the night game. But the first game of a series is always important, but to win it in the way we did, in both ways, I felt like our bats were pretty good early. Probably could have pushed across maybe a couple.
Appears to be working great. Let's take a look at that chassis lit up. And here's the radio that glows in the dark. All the tubes nice and clean, lit up, and there's a dial lamp. That was a fun project. Alright, mission accomplished on this little console radio. It's not something I normally do, but it was a local person, so I thought D-Lab's up for the challenge. Hope you enjoyed it.